Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to discuss about CSMA in further details. First of all, we are going to look at CSMA CD. Basically, CSMA CD is the CD means here is collision detection. Now, if the two stations sense the channel to be idle and begin transmitting simultaneously, they will both detect the collision almost immediately. So basically, it's saying that if two stations are sending their data simultaneously, and the collision happens, of course it's going to happen because they have sent the data simultaneously, then they are almost going to sense that collision immediately. All right, so rather now there are a lot of ways that they can deal with that. Either they can just keep sending on the frames, but that is just going to be, that's just fluid. It's not going to benefit anyone. So the best course of action here will be to immediately stop the frame transmission, because once the frame is transmitted it cannot be retrieved back. All right, so what you have to do, what the station does is it immediately stops transmitting the frame. So that's why written over in the second point, rather than finish transmitting their frames, which are irretrievable, garbled anyway, they should stop transmitting as soon as the collision is detected. Of course, quickly terminating damaged frames saves time and bandwidth. Alright, this protocol known as CSMA CD is widely used on LANs in MAC sublayer. Access method used by Ethernet is also this CSMA CD, collision detection. Okay, now suppose this is a frame sent by a station. Alright, so this is the transmission period in which someone is sending the frame. A contention period is a period in which no one can send a frame. Okay, so this much of contention period is in CSMA CD to prevent collisions in which no one can send a frame. There's again a frame, there's again a contention slot, then there's again a frame, and then there's an idle period. Idle period means that a station is eligible. It If that station wants, then it is eligible to send a frame, though at this very moment no station is trying to send a frame or sending a frame. Okay, now at the point TO, a station has finished transmitting its frame. Okay, as I showed you in the demonstration, at this point this frame has ended. Any other station having a frame sent may how attempt a frame having a frame to send may now attempt to do so. If two or more stations decide to transmit simultaneously, there will be a collision. Of course, there is going to be a collision. Collision can be detected by looking at the power or pulse width of the received signals and comparing it to the transmitted signal. So whatever power or pulse you're going to receive from the channel, you can compare that to the what should be the received signal for the transmitted signal, and by comparing that you can comprehend whether it is a collision or not, whether there is a collision or not. After a station detects a collision, it aborts its transmission, waits a random period of time, and then tries again, assuming that no other station has started transmitting in the meantime. Okay, therefore model for CSMA CD will consist of alternating contention and transmission periods with idle periods occurring when all stations are quiet. That is why I showed you this demonstration. So that is how CSMA CD sort of the structure is. Okay, now important for competitive. So these are some formulas that generally do help you a lot in the competitive exams. Like efficiencies formula is this one, and where A is TP upon T, that is propagation time upon transmission time. All right, so if distance increases, efficiency of CSMA decreases. Now these points are those points which can help you sort of comprehend the answer. If it is giving you, there are many questions like that where you have to take a where you have to think like this way, like if the distance increases then efficiency of CSMA will decrease. So this might help you in a lot of questions. Now, CSMA is not suitable for long distance networks like WAN, but works optimally for LAN. Okay, could also be asked in MCQ, so better be prepared. If length of packet is bigger than efficiency of CSMA, it means that if length of packet is bigger, then efficiency of CSMA increases, but maximum limit of length is 1500 bytes. It's BYT, yes, not bit, it's bytes, alright. Moving on to the next point, look at these two formulas. Transmission time is greater or equal to round trip time of 1 bit. Okay, so transmission time is greater or equal to 2 into propagation time, cause round trip time is 2 into propagation time. Alright, now earlier we read, just now recently we read about CSMA CD. CD was collision detection. Basically we can only do collision detection on the right. We can do collision detection. How? Now if you remember, just I told you that collision detection, whether a collision has happened or not, is determined by the received signals, received power or pulse. Right now then they compare that this should be the received signal for that for what we transmitted, but this power or pulse is different. So then they comprehend that yeah, the collision has occurred. That is possible in a wired medium. However, when you are in a wireless medium, then you cannot do that. And for that you have CSMA CA. CA here is collision avoidance. So carriers sense multiple access with collision avoidance is CSMA CA. This is the full form of CSMA CA. Alright. Now this is a network multiple access method in which carrier sensing is used, but nodes attempt to avoid collision by beginning transmission only when the channel is sensed to be idle. Alright, this is the basic rule that everybody that I guess most of the protocols follows. But there's not much you can do in collision avoidance. Avoidance just basically means that better cure than better preventing that collision to occur. Alright. So basically you have to take all the measures that you can take to prevent a collision to happen. You have to change the time slots. You have to do. We'll look into all of them. Right. It is particularly important for wireless networks where the collision detection of the alternative CSMA CD is not possible due to wireless transmitters dissensing their receivers during packet transmission. As I aforementioned, this is the reason why CSMA CA is in wireless mediums. Now CSMA CA is unreliable due to the hidden node problem and exposed terminal problem. Just don't bother yourself with this point. We are going to look into this point in quite a detail, but that will be in the later lectures. And the solution to the previous problem is this: RTS, RTS and CTS. Just know this for now. What are these and how this solution works? What are hidden nodes? What are exposed nodes? We are going to talk about them all later. Don't bother yourself right now. Okay. CSMA-CA is a protocol that operate in the data link layer 2 of the OSI model. The access method used by IEEE 802.11 Wi-Fi is CSMA-CA. Okay, it's actually 108.2.11. So this was all about CSMA-CA. As I told you, these points are gonna be why it is unreliable. We are going to talk that later. Otherwise, this was all about CSMA CA and CSMA CD. Now coming on to reservation. This is a controlled access protocol. So basically we know that in a controlled access protocol, it's sort of a centralized system. This sort of a controller. If you remember, we go back and see here. Controlled access protocol. In controlled access, the station consult one another to find which station has the right to send. A station cannot send unless it has been authorized by other stations. Okay. So looking at the first controlled access protocol, that is reservation. It's basically that a station need to make a reservation before sending data. As giving you an analogy, as we do reservations in train to book the train tickets before going to somewhere, we have to reserve our train ticket, a train seat, right? So it is sort of like that. A station need to make a reservation before sending data. In each interval, a reservation frame precedes the data frame sent in that interval. I'm going to explain this point a little bit from now. For the time being, if there are n stations in the system, then there are exactly n reservation mini slots in the reservation frame. So basically, there's not like there is a shortage of seats in the train and all the people can travel simultaneously. It's not like that. It's not saying simultaneously, but it's like there are that many seats. The number of stations. I'm sorry. I mean the number of slots available will be exactly equal to the number of stations. So it won't be like that this slots are full now, you don't have your station don't have any reserve, you can't reserve a seat, can't reserve it. Okay, so the number, if there are n stations in the system, there are exactly n reservation mini slots in the reservation frame. Okay, each mini slot belongs to a station. Of course, when a station needs to send a data frame, it makes a reservation in its own mini slot. This is the procedure. The station that have made reservation can send their data frames after the reservation frames. Now, what these 2 points means is that in each interval, a reservation frame precedes mean it'll be following the data frame from behind. All right, sent in the interval. So basically, if you see over here, read this like this in this order. So this one is here. Mind it, this block you can see over here, it is preceding these three. So first of all, suppose there are 4 stations, I'm sorry, 5 stations, that is 1 2 3 4 5. Now the first station, the third station and the fourth station turn their bits from 0 to 1, thus telling that we want to make a reservation to send our data. Okay, so this was here. First of all, this frame went, and then afterwards, I'm sorry, I mean first of all, these this will be here. Then the data station 1, data station 3, data station 4, whomever made the reservations, their data will be beyond this reservation block. And afterwards, you can see here in this reservation block, only the first station made its reservation. So only the first station is sending its data, and afterwards there's no reservation made by any station, so there's no data following. Don't it's just, so there's no data after this block. Okay, so this is what this point meant, that a reservation block precedes the data frames or the data. Okay, the stations that have made reservations can send their data frames after the reservation frame. Okay, so first the reservation frame will be passed, then dispatched, then after the stations have the can send their data. The stations can send their data after this one is passed. All right. So now moving on to the second protocol of controlled access protocols, it's polling. So what basically polling is, so this is pretty much of a simple topic, you can understand it by just by reading these points. The polling protocol requires one of the nodes to be designated as a master node. So first of all, you will be choosing a computer to be a master node. In particular, the master node first sends a message to node 1 saying that it can transmit up to maximum number of frames. Now I mean, making you comprehend all of this polling stuff in just few words, it'll be like, if I am a master node and there are suppose 5 other nodes, node 1, node 2, node 3. So how the order is going to be like, I am the master node, I am going to ask node 1 that this is your turn. Now you are able to send maximum data as you wish. This is your maximum data, and if you wish, you can send up to this much of data. If node 1 has to send, and suppose it sends, now after its turn is done, I am going to go to node 2 and ask him, then now this is your turn. So master node will first ask node 1, Afterwards, it'll ask node 2. Once uh, node 2's data has been sent, it'll ask node 3, and this circle is going to go like this. Okay, so this is what is written over here. After node 1 transmits some frames, the master node tells node 2 it can transmit up to maximum number of frames. Okay, the other point is that the master node can determine when a node has finished sending its frame by observing the lack of signal on the channel. So master node has the capability of sensing whether a node is sending data or not, or whether it is still in the procedure of sending data. All right, how does it do it? Basically it is able to sense the data, whether there is a signal in the channel or not. The procedure continues in the manner with the master node polling each of them in a cyclic manner. So this is a cyclic manner. Okay, got that? Now moving on to some other points. The polling protocol eliminates the collision. Of course, now if you are you are having such a good system like this, then certainly there's not going to be any chance of collision, because I am a master node and I'm never going to allow two nodes simultaneously to send data, right? So there's no chance of collision, though there are a lot of problems with this. Now this allows polling to achieve a maximum higher efficiency. Of course it do. Now the first drawback is the problem I was talking about is that the protocol introduces a polling delay, right? I am asking you first, then you are sending data, then I am asking another one, then it is sending data. So this polling delay is always there. The amount of time required to notify a node that it can transmit. So yeah, that is there, but this is not that much of a serious sort of drawback. However, the second drawback is pretty serious, like which is potentially more serious, is that if the master node fails, the entire channel becomes inoperative. That's the problem. Suppose if that master node somehow fails, then the entire channel, not anybody will be able to transmit its data. So this is actually a serious problem. Okay. Now what polling functions are? Polling function is if the primary wants to send some receive some data. So I am going to, if I am a primary node, then I'm going to I have to receive some data. So I'll be asking the secondaries, that is I am a primaries master and the secondaries are its other simple nodes, if they have anything to send. So if I have to receive some data, I'll be asking the secondaries that if you have anything to send. Now select function is if the primary wants to send data, I'll basically if I'm a primary, suppose I'm a primary node and I have to send some data, so I basically will be telling the second nodes that to get ready to receive data. Okay, so these were polling functions, polling function and select function. Now moving to efficiency of polling. So basically this is the formula for efficiency of polling, that is TT, that is transmission time upon transmission time plus propagation time. Okay, so this was about it. Now talking about token passing, another protocol of controlled access protocols. Okay, a station is authorized to send data when it receives a special frame called a token. You might have heard about it. Here there is no master node, so there won't be a master node, yet you are going to have a sort of a frame. That frame is going to be known as token frame, is going to be known as token. This is what it says in the first point. It's going to be a special frame called as token. So you are only able to send data when you will be having this token to yourself. All right, otherwise you won't be able to send this data. Now how does this basically works is it's going to work like, now I have suppose I have a token, I send my data, now I will pass that token to you. You are the next one. You if have some data to send, then of course you're going to send that data, and meanwhile the token will be remain to you. However, if you don't have any data to send, then you're immediately going to transmit the token to the next one. Okay, the next one is also going to follow the same procedure. All right, so this is what it says here. A small special purpose frame known as a token is exchanged among the nodes in some fixed order. Okay, when a node receives a token, it holds onto the token only if it has some frames to transmit. Otherwise, it immediately forwards the token to the next node. Okay, if a node does have frames to transmit, when it receives the token, it sends up to a maximum number of frames and then forwards the token to next node. So that's how I mentioned you. This is how it works. This is basically the procedure of token passing system. Token passing is decentralized and highly efficient, but it has problems as well. Problems can be like, suppose that node who was holding the token, somehow it, because of any error, it's not passing the token to anybody. So then the entire system will be failing. Of course, the entire system is going to go down because the token is just being holded by a single node. It could not be deliberately. Of course, it can happen because of some error. Okay, so these are the type of the problems that you can have, or the drawbacks that you can have in token passing. Here is also written over here. For instance, the failure of one node can crash the entire channel. So the failure of node is also sort of determined, as I told you in the earlier example. Or if a node accidentally neglects to release the token, then some recovery procedure must be invoked to get the token back in circulation. Okay, so this was about the token passing. Now talking about for the competitive guys, like these are the formulas that you will be needing for your competitive exams. Like, so the token passing, for performance of token passing, S will be throughput, N is number of stations, TP is propagation delay, and TT is transmission delay. Got that? Now for A is, first of all, look at A, it is propagation time upon transmission time. If that turns out to be less than 1, then this will be the performance. And if that somehow turns out to be greater than 1, then it is going to be, the performance is going to be this. Okay, so yes guys, this was all for today. I hope you enjoyed this session. If you did, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Thank you guys for watching this video.